Welcome back to the Old Colony Cast, a podcast recovering from illness.
Is that what it's about now?
It's sort of. So 2/3 of us are just getting over a cold. It's a podcast about all things Plymouth and surrounding areas. So if we sound a little more nasal than normal, or just a little, hear the random cough in the background, cut us some slack, man. All right. It's cold and flu season.
Yeah, it's getting everyone.
Yeah.
I'm feeling nervous. My back's against the wall.
All right, nobody breathe at Hanna.
That voice is Hanna, co-host. And that other voice is our sniffling, sneezing, coffee, stuffy head, while you get some rest, producer, Fish.
What is that?
It's NyQuil.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Which
I actually kind of got it out. I didn't think I was going to get it out all in one shot.
Not bad.
That did pretty well.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, I don't really have much.
Any updates? Nothing.
I don't think so. I don't think everyone's just getting kind of over the holidays. Everyone's still kind of like.
Anytime I think of something that I'm like, I should talk about this on the show, if I don't send it in our group chat, it's like almost.
I feel like there was something, but I can't remember what it was.
We got time.
Oh, we had someone comment on the Worcester tornado episode. They said that they weren't happy that we were making light of a serious situation.
I think you already shared this.
Did we already share this?
Yeah.
This sounds like a conversation we've all had.
All right,
Yes.
edit that part out. No, I have no updates, Hannah.
All right, sounds good. I was like, wait.
Yeah. So what are we going to be talking about today?
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the Andrea Doria.
Okay.
Cool.
The SS Andrea Doria.
Which I know is a boat.
It is a boat.
Did the SS give it away?
No, it's one of those, like, all boats, well, not all boats. A lot of boats have female names, so I tend to get them confused.
Yes, because they're all referred to as girls.
Right. Yeah. What was the one from The Perfect Storm?
The Andrea Gale. And the whole time we were doing it, you were like, I keep thinking of the other one.
Yeah. All right. So these are the two that I always get confused.
Yes.
So Marky Mark was not on this one.
Nothing to do with this one.
Okay.
It was commissioned and owned by the Italian Line Company after World War II, and it did have a sister ship, the Cristoforo Colombo, which was still a girl boat.
Okay.
So
that sounds like the kind of thing you do to avoid like copyright infringement.
Well, now that we've pointed out it's Italian, I don't even know if Andrea's a girl's name.
Oh yeah, and I know I'm saying Andrea. So Massachusetts of me.
Yeah, but I mean that's what everyone calls it, isn't it?
The Andrea.
I think someone called it how do you pronounce it?
Andrea.
Andrea
Doria. I would not know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like everyone calls it the Andrea Doria.
Yeah. So pronunciation is fluid and it depends on
if you're from Massachusetts or not.
Or Italy.
Yeah.
Construction started in 1950. It was 29,000 tons, 700 feet long, 600 and... I don't know why I changed... I did the roundup of feet, so 700, and then right below it I did what the actual 697 feet. Anyway, sorry. It has 10 decks. Oh, it did. Ooh. Spoiler alert. 10 decks, and it...
But what happened to those decks, Hannah?
And it carried a passenger load of 1,240-ish people and a crew load of 560-ish people.
So it was a passenger ship.
But it also doubled as carrying goods and things like that too. So there was on one of the trips they just like the trip that we're going to talk about. Mm-hmm. They explained like full crew, full passenger load, but also like tons of furniture being carried over. Yeah, and like so, it doubled as both. And it was named after Admiral Andrea Doria. So yeah, probably.
Oh, so it's a dude boat.
Also, I guess a dude boat. If that's what we're gonna call it.
Yeah.
And its maiden voyage went from Genoa, Italy, January 14th, 1953, and went to New York City, the port in New York City, which is like a pretty traveled
Yeah.
area from Europe. And it was designed by Giulio Metalletti. And I didn't bother to spell it right. I just went with how it sounded.
How it sounded, so you would
because I
pronounce
knew,
it
yes,
more.
exactly. Because I know how I have it spelled.
I think you need to do more of an Italian accent.
I didn't want
Giulio.
Yeah, Giulio.
Giulio.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. And it was sleek, modern, contemporary, and just like luxury was the name of the game. I feel like if anyone was a Parks and Rec fan, there was like the Treat Yourself Day. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I know Parks and Recs is a show.
Okay. So there are characters on there that would have a treat yourself kind of like luxury, everything luxury,
Okay.
anything you want. And this has kind of felt like that to me because it, just the way it was described, everything was chic and sheer and just like the finest of the fine to be on a ship like that.
So it's like the guy from Jurassic Park that's like, no expenses were spared.
Spared no expense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And except this is just like on furniture and art and
Yeah.
stuff and not really dinosaurs.
Wow. I don't even know why we're talking about it now.
So it was the first ship to have a 3 outdoor swimming pools
Wow.
on
Okay.
each class deck. So each class like of ticket had a swimming pool, which was pretty cool. And it was the first one to have fully, I don't want to say centralized, but it was fully AC'd each room.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that neat?
That's
And,
pretty impressive. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And swimming pools, although 3 sounds like a lot now, I don't know how many the average cruise ship has.
I don't know. I
Probably
just find it weird to go swimming on
on a boat.
On a boat.
I can't do it. I don't want to.
I don't get it. Like, why?
See, I feel like at that point, if you're on a cruise ship, you're high enough out of the water that I don't want to get in the ocean at that point because it's probably like a 40-foot drop at best.
I guess just cruise ships aren't my thing.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. It just seems like a weird thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not a beach goer either. Like, I don't
Oh, okay, yeah.
like the idea of just laying in the sun just to lay.
Just
I don't
to
do
bake.
well not doing things.
Okay. Well,
And I'm very pale and incredibly
there was
flammable.
plenty to do inside because, like I said, it was just,
Okay.
luxurious, and you could go and appreciate all the art and things, and there was plenty of like lounge and things to do inside as well. It was really just the Italian design at its finest at that moment in time, and also not inspiration, but really the push to create these liners came because it was like just after the war. Italy had lost a lot of its like just fleet
Yeah.
in general, so they wanted to come out strong during peacetime and get something that was going to make them some money. So
Right.
also top of the line for safety, kind of. Aren't they all?
Kind of.
I don't know if the kind of thing is or the fact.
I was gonna say, were they like, let's call it unsinkable, and they're like, no, I don't know, maybe we should.
I'm also concerned about the fact that we talked about how it had
Yeah.
10 decks and not has.
So it was promoted as being an unsinkable ship.
You'd think they'd learn by then.
Yeah.
I know.
We promise this time.
Yeah. And it was known as soon as its like first few trips, it was really just known for being really crap on rough seas, for having such a bad or extreme tilt, which is like quite literally what it is. The tilt from left to right of the ship. Just depending on what was going on, it really the load on the bottom, specifically fuel load, played a big part in it.
Sure.
So like the lighter the fuel load, the crazier the tilt was. It was just like too thin of a ship.
Yeah.
So
And too
basically,
tall.
as soon as the weight of the fuel came out, it would rise high in the water and then just.
Yeah. So so to the point where there were a few occasions that people had to get hospitalized.
From seasickness?
No, from
from-
injuries.
Oh, geez.
From the
Okay.
tilt.
Like just bouncing, just the tip. Oh, God.
Because it would like they would say it would be as like much as 20 degrees. That's
that's pretty
a
extreme.
lot for
Yeah.
a cruise ship.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's just a lot.
yeah, for a boat in general. And then I don't know if you guys know this. you probably do just by pictures. Sailboats, right? When they're flying and going fast, they rely a lot on like the tilt of the ship to really fly through the water. I've been sailing a few times. That sounds weird. I've been sailing a lot. I used to go sailing all the time when I was a kid. I hated that part. I literally just wanted to putz around on a boat. Like,
like I don't want to be sailing. I just want to be at sea.
And then when you were like, you had to, like be going really fast and like the tilt was crazy. You'd have to like wrap your arms around like ropes and just like
and like lean because
like when it's
against something. And I was like, this is fun.
Yeah, sailing's like
it's a workout.
Yeah, it's like a real sport.
It is a real sport.
Yeah, it's a real sport. Yeah,
I didn't ever do it like competitively. I was just like the kid that got dragged along. So, not saying I'm like an expert sailor. I know enough, but not really anything at all at the same time.
Look, all I was saying is we go pirate and steal the
Mayflower.
Thank you. Oh, God, brain. Yeah, so Hannah's the captain.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Because she's the only one of us who's sailed.
Doesn't she have to have a hook or a peg leg?
I mean, we'll give
parrot
her,
would also
we'll give her a parrot.
A parrot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I do have a parrot technically.
All right, then.
Well, then.
Captain Hanna
Captain Hanna is.
I was like, wait a minute. Let me think about that. All right. Find out where my notes are. So they did have a pump system to assist with this tilt issue.
To pump water into the ship?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it would kind of make up for lack of fuel, and they'd pump ocean water in, which boats already sound, or they don't sound. They definitely are like like rust when going through the ocean. I'm like, imagine how many fish just get like sucked into that.
I mean, they probably have like a strainer on the end.
think?
Yeah, it's probably like they probably
It just sounds like if like just thinking of back to everything you see from underwater as a fish and like the Finding Nemo movies, like everything is just a natural disaster when like a boat is involved. So I can't imagine just sucking like thousands of
P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way.
Gallons of water into a boat. They're like, oh my God, what is going on? Anyway. But that pump system, interestingly enough, only really worked when it was not tilting beyond a certain degree.
Oh, like once you tip too far, you're
too late. You're doomed.
SOL.
Yeah. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, so now we're at July 25th, 1956. So a handful of years after its first voyage, it's made more trips than Wikipedia cared to share with me because it was just a regular cruise liner at that time.
A lot.
Yeah. And although it was known for all these issues, it still was a well-traveled boat. And heading in from Italy over to New York City, and it was approaching Nantucket. So off the coast of Massachusetts that time of year, it's summer. Mm-hmm. There was like a heavy fog lane. It's almost what they called it. Like,
okay.
Just an area they knew that time of day.
Gets foggy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they made sure they were good to enter the fog. They like checked their, had the right people out keeping watch. They had their foghorn on. They did their due diligence to slow down from 25 knots to 21 knots.
Okay. That doesn't sound like much slower.
There you go. Even if you're not on a boat, it's really not that much slower. So what you're supposed to do in like maritime, I don't want to say law, but
rules.
Like rules, you're supposed to slow down with enough to a speed that if you're invisible, like whatever your visual distance is, you should be able to actually stop your ship and not hit
something in that.
Yeah. So you need to slow down a lot. Like they should have been crawling, and they were like, let's just cut back a couple.
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
Did you slow down? Technically.
Yes.
I mean, really, what's the worst that can happen?
Now, also on a trip that night, yes, double checking. It was nighttime at this point. Was another cruise liner / cargo ship called the Stockholm. And it was a Swedish ship. much different from the Andrea Doria, much smaller. And it was like just a 700 passenger ship compared to the, right?
It's like a dinghy.
Yeah. And it was, because it ran on colder waters, it also had a pretty cool reinforced bow to help break through icy waters.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was a very sturdy ship, very reliable, used often. And they both just so happened to be passing by Nantucket at the same time.
In fog.
Yes. There's also the Nantucket lightship, which is exactly what it sounds like.
It's like a lighthouse on a boat.
On a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So further out in the water to let ships know where they are, and as far as like the sound and where Nantucket is and where they should be traveling.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, for that area, there was the North Atlantic Track Agreement. And in this area, it's pretty much like lanes, right? We know, like...
Oh, you have like a southbound lane and northbound lane kind
Yes.
of thing? Okay.
Exactly. But this is east and west.
Okay.
And any of the boats, like, coming into the U.S. would have been had to be traveling like north of the line.
Okay.
And the other ones south of the line if you're heading out.
Makes sense.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
Very simple.
Yeah. Slow down, stay on the right side of the line. Yeah. Seems like normal
It is.
travel rules for whatever you're traveling.
Yeah, and don't let your vehicle tip over too much. I'm down with all this.
So,
And don't hit the Swedish ship.
right. So the Stockholm, who they don't know, maybe they just were up to date on the agreement or what, but they were traveling 20 miles north of the line.
Okay.
Where they showed they were in the wrong lane.
So they were in the wrong lane.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's foggy, right? So they're both kind of slowing down, and this isn't like they have AC on their boat. Like, they also have radars.
Right.
So they do see that there's another ship, and with all the best intentions,
Did they assume it was going
Did they both
in the right direction?
They both zig the same way.
those everything,
All of that?
all of the above. The I almost said Andrea Gale. The Andrea Doria assumed that the Stockholm would change course at some point and was going to go off in a different direction.
Okay.
And the Stockholm, for at least it's written in here, and from all the things I read, that they likely had an error in their radar. So when they thought the Doria was 12 miles away, it was actually 4 miles away.
Oh, okay.
So
That's a big difference.
Yeah, so they both saw each other coming,
Yeah.
very well aware of, at least the Doria was well aware of its position, but just like assumed the best intentions of that boat.
Yeah.
So by the time they saw one another, the Doria attempted to make a pass of the Stockholm. Okay, if they're both going this way, it leans towards the left,
Okay.
attempting to pass it.
On the leany side.
Yeah. Well, any side could be the leany side at that point.
Yeah.
Attempts to test it on the left. Now, what also is supposed to happen in situations like this is not that. They're supposed to pass on the right.
Okay.
So they're supposed to take a right turn, and the other boat's supposed to take a right turn. So when the Stockholm saw the boat, they couldn't really see what turn they had just made.
So they took the right because they were supposed to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one boat was like, take a right turn. My right or your right?
Yes. So the Doria ends up taking a hard right.
Okay.
Well, the Stockholm also just turns more into the boat instead of heading like in the opposite way.
I feel like there had to be 1,000 things that went wrong for this to actually
Like,
happen.
this is a pile of very poor decision making and absolutely no radio work, which is
And I think there was some, but like it was almost like too late, like seconds too late. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they'd be like, yeah, well, you know what? They're probably fine. And then afterwards, like, which way are you going?
Right. Okay, we're turning right. Wait, his right or our?
Yeah,
Yeah, I just feel like that's the, his right or our right? Like, what are we talking about here?
So, we got through all that. Okay. It was too late, and at 11:10 p.m. at night, the Stockholm ran right into the Andrea Doria. Like, right into it.
Okay.
So, pretty close to the bow of the boat. Not quite in the middle of it, but enough that that tilty issue that it had became quite a problem, right?
Yeah.
So it might not have been as much of a problem, but that night, to save time, they didn't stop to fill up with seawater in their empty fuel tanks because they were at the end of the trip and their fuel tanks were at their emptiness.
Their emptiest.
Their emptiest.
Emptiness.
Emptiness. So the Stockholm, having that nice bow that we talked about and just being like the sturdy gurdy that it is,
Punched right through it. Its bow got crunched, but it was like pretty okay. Like, it was not sinking. Yeah.
It was totally fine, other than the crunched bow. And the Doria started taking on water pretty quickly. It did have also the safeguard of 11 watertight bulkheads in its first couple decks, but those were only able to work out if it was at a certain tilt. So if the angle of the tilt was
set the wrong tilt, so whatever was making it watertight wasn't making it watertight.
Because the water's then just dumping over those levels.
Yeah, because at some point you're tilted over enough that the top of the bulkheads is below the waterline.
There you go.
That's bad.
Also made it so they couldn't even use their pump system to try and salvage what was happening because
they were worried about the fish.
Yeah, that's what I know. It's me in there. I'm like, just think about it. So they were unable to use it because it's like virtually all the rooms above the watertight rooms were
flooding.
Flooding. So all of their safeguards were not working. The tilt was going crazy. It was far beyond the tilt that, like the 20% angle that it should have been to have any sort of like saving grace of it. So they started to evacuate like in about 30 minutes. Like they were like, this isn't...
It's bad.
Yeah, we got to get off the ship. Stockholm was in such like sturdy condition, even though the bow was completely crunched in, that they started lending a hand with the evacuation. If there's one thing they did right, it's the evacuation. They did it pretty quick.
Yeah.
And were able to get, I think because they were in such a populated shipping area, got a lot of help. So
that's good.
The Stockholm was able to step in, ferry people over to their
I mean, yeah, they were right there.
boat.
So.
Yeah.
But also radio went out for the SOS, and several ships came and helped get people off. There were enough lifeboats on the Doria for people to all get off. However, half of them were on the half of the boat that was now too high out of the water to be able to let
you can't
down.
really lower them down at some point if they're sideways.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, which slowed it down a little bit, but that's okay because they luckily so many boats showed up that they were able to get everyone off before it sank.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
It's got a happy ending.
One of the biggest helps was the Ile de France. It was a huge boat. I don't want to say it was like twice the size of the Doria, but it was much bigger. Mm-hmm. It was a cruise liner. They were coming along, stepped in and helped, and like really sped up the process. 1,633 people were rescued.
Oh.
The ship slowly started sinking in, but it was sinking the whole time.
Right.
But really, it was fully submerged by 10:09 a.m. the next morning. So from 11:30.
Wow. Okay, so it like stayed afloat for like 12-ish
It
hours.
did, yeah. But they all like kind of watched it happen, and they were all... Oh, I shouldn't say all, because that wreck happened and did injure and kill people.
Oh, during the actual...
Yeah.
Okay.
During the actual like crash.
Yeah.
So 51 people ended up dying. 46 were on the Doria, 5 from the Stockholm. It was the biggest wreck, not war-related, since the Titanic.
Okay. Which is probably why we know the name.
Right.
Yeah, that and it's fairly local.
Yeah.
And it is very local. So it was like less than 50 miles off the coast of Nantucket or something. Yeah, no, just about 52 miles. So we talked a lot about how all these things happened,
Yeah.
and why it happened, and how it doesn't make any sense to us. Well, it didn't make any sense to anyone else either, especially
Okay.
the people who were on the boat. So blame was trying to be decided. It was something that was taken to court
Yeah.
for the two companies that ran the boat. Eventually,
I feel like the Stockholm didn't have.
I don't know. So it was more the blame was placed on the Doria for just not having. The Stockholm may not have been a part of that, like, Atlantic.
Oh, maybe they weren't part of that agreement?
Yeah, or just, like, wasn't in the know. So
Yeah.
at the very least, the Doria should have been more on top of, like, ship passing etiquette,
Yeah.
which they were not. They went the wrong way.
Oh, I thought the Stockholm went the wrong way.
No.
Okay.
They were in the wrong lane.
Okay.
The
But then
Doria turned the wrong way.
Okay.
So they did pay out. Both companies end up paying out a little bit to the victims. No real blame was ever like secured onto either company, but the Doria was found more to blame.
Yeah.
So, and for that reason, and because they decided to get to their point of like their destination faster and not feel their
They didn't
fuel
feel
tank.
there, so they were more tippy than they should
Yep,
be.
more tippy. And Italian line to replace the Doria made the Leonardo da Vinci. It was 4,000 tons larger than the Doria,
Yeah.
and virtually the same design. So it had all the same.
You'd think
So-
if you're going to build a second ship, you'd be like, let's make this one not going to want to fall over.
Yeah. So to try and make up for that, I think after a few trips or maybe like a year or whatever, they tried to reinforce some with heavy steel on the bottom of the ship.
Yeah.
And the bow to like make up for that. It didn't really work. That boat has kind of a funny story in that like they had to put it out of commission. It was left afloat. A fire started on it, and that also sank.
Huh.
And then they refloated it and then sold it for scrap.
That's weird.
So that one just also sank. And
Yeah.
the Christopher Colombo or whatever ended up running for a good while too, but it wasn't something that stayed in use for not forever. I
Yeah.
mean, boats don't live forever, but
It does sound like kind of an iffy ship design, so I can imagine it getting kind of phased out at some point.
right. The Stockholm, however, you could still take a cruise on today.
Really?
Yes.
Did they fix the bow, I'm assuming?
Yep, fixed it. It looks different. It's the name Astoria now, and it's strictly a cruise liner. Still about the same size.
How many swimming pools do they have?
Maybe just the one.
I mean, it's Swedish, so it's probably not that many pools because it's Northern Europe.
Well,
Saunas. Probably
yeah.
lots of saunas.
Yeah, right. But they are, still a humble ship. It's changed names a few times, but it's a strong boat. It's a strong boat.
Yeah, they just hammered out the dents and said, yeah, we're good enough.
Yeah,
We're fine.
really. And you can still literally take a cruise on
That's pretty cool, though.
on the ship that sank the Andrea Doria. Isn't that crazy? So the wreck is 52 miles off the coast of Nantucket. It's 250 miles below the sea. 50 miles? 50 feet? I don't know. 50 miles. Might have written the wrong thing.
Miles?
250 miles? That's a long way.
That's a super long way.
Is that right?
That doesn't sound
Is the
right.
ocean that deep there?
I don't think it is. Hold on.
250 feet sounds too shallow. Is it?
I don't know.
But you can technically still go to the wreck. No, you can't. But you had been able to up
They'd
until
go and, like,
recently.
dive.
Yeah, the way the boat is like disintegrating underwater, it is very unsafe.
Okay.
Like super duper. I mean, none of it sounds safe, anyways. If
Right.
you're going up to like a boat that is just
That sank.
Yeah.
Clearly, there were structural problems with it in the beginning.
What did I mess up?
Okay, so the top of the wreck is 160 feet or 50 meters down.
Oh, okay, yeah. I probably just saw the M and was like,
Yeah,
miles.
That's the meters thing. Yeah.
That's what
50
that is.
miles on. I don't. Oh,
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
Even when I said 50 miles under, I was like, well, that's deep.
That's real deep.
That's real deep.
That's like Mariana's Trench.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it had a good run. It is super, super close to us. I literally hadn't heard really much about it until we put it up as an episode.
Like I'd heard the name, but I couldn't have told you what happened.
I don't even
to
know
it.
if I had heard the name, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. I've never been like, other than the Titanic,
Yeah.
never been like a big shipwreck person.
It's interesting.
It is, yes. Especially, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I've never heard of this because it is a massive cruise liner that had like the same, I don't know, almost devastational effect of the Titanic.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like nearly as many people.
Yeah,
died.
I mean,
think
most
that's-
No,
the
that's what I mean, almost. And I'm
Yeah, I
like,
mean, that is the big deal on the Titanic is that,
Yeah.
one, a lot of people died, and two, a lot of rich and famous people died.
yeah. Well,
Fair.
there were a decent amount of rich and famous people that rode on this boat too, because of its luxury
Yeah.
that it encapsulated on the sea. But
And we may be seeing more cruise ships coming to Plymouth.
we will.
We might.
Why?
To bring in tourism.
From a cruise ship?
Yeah.
Yeah, because cruise ships have people on them, Hannah.
I feel like buses do the trick. Where are they going to land?
That's part of why they like dredged the harbor and put in like the new.
I mean, I assume
They're not like.
I assume they're not like huge
Yeah,
ones,
yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah. They're not like the Carnival cruise ones. But
no,
Because I've
but
seen some
like the
pretty big
Copenhagen
ones.
could probably come in.
the what?
Copenhagen.
I would
Stockholm.
imagine they.
God,
Stockholm.
I'd
What the hell's
imagine
in Copenhagen?
other Swedish city.
Yeah.
Denmark, I think. I hope.
They. I feel like I've seen them like park way out there.
Yeah.
And they just take some boats in or whatever.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't. They're not.
I don't know the
harbor.
logistics. I just
It's
know.
a tight harbor when you get
Yeah.
out there. If people are on their moorings,
Yeah.
they're not going to cruise ship
Yeah.
in there.
I don't know. I'm just. That's the hot goss.
Yeah, no, they'd park way off and then
Yeah.
come in on boats.
So.
I'm
Is
like,
park the term for it?
they'd anchor way off.
Okay, no, I'm just like legitimately, I've never really thought about what the technical term for
It's anchor.
boat
Yeah.
stopping is.
They'd park the yacht.
Yeah.
Park the yacht.
Yeah.
I have seen some big boats, but they're usually like massive yachts,
Yeah.
which is still funny to me. Oh, the Cape is a popular destination.
It is.
Yeah.
So I mean, it might be like one of those. What's the one that goes to like Nova Scotia?
Oh, that one's cool.
Yeah, like stuff like that size. I don't think
Yeah.
a couple hundred people, not thousands of people.
Yeah.
You know.
There are boats that cruise ships that do the Mississippi. But like I wanted to do that one time.
Mhm.
And I'm like, the Mississippi is not really that visually
I feel like they kind of
appealing the whole time.
Yeah. I feel like those spots are probably beautiful, and those spots are like,
It's
like,
just
oh,
like the
look.
cities.
yeah, yeah.
Look, farmland
Or just
for
like
the next 87 miles.
and then a major city.
Yeah.
And then smog. And then
more farmland.
but I wanted to do one that was like, almost like the Pilgrim Bell.
Yeah,
Like
my
an
parents
old
went on
school
like one like that, but it was in Alaska.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I guess it was in. I think it was in Wyatt Earp, the boat.
Oh, I was like, is that a place?
No, the movie
Oh, okay.
Wyatt Earp.
Oh.
The boat was in the movie Wyatt Earp.
I
it.
assume it wasn't
Yeah.
in the person. That'd be awkward and uncomfortable.
I just went right to a town that I'd never heard of. I was like,
And
wow.
they said the weirdest thing was, so like they got assigned their room, whatever, and there was like no lock on the door.
Oh.
And so they're like, there's no lock on the door. And they were just kind of like, yeah, we've never had a problem. And I'm like, I don't even know about problem. Just,
Privacy.
yeah, just like a tipsy person walking into the room. Like, we were in room 7, right? Like that kind of thing,
Yeah.
you know? I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like I gotta have my luggage up against the door.
Yeah. Or some sort of, they sell little locks that you can put on now.
Yeah.
Self-sustaining locks. But that's a Andrea Doria.
Cool.
Or Andrea Doria.
How do you say it?
Andrea Doria. Because, yeah, there's like, who's the guy? Andrea Bocelli?
Yeah.
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 The singer.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I've never heard it said any other way other than Andrea Doria. Like I always
You
just
mean Andrea Doria?
Andrea. Now I can't even remember. It's like yeah.
But I
always assumed it was a girl's name.
I would not call Andrea Pacelli Andrea Pacelli. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listener, you decide how you want to say it.
You're from Massachusetts. Say it however you want.
Add an S on
That's
the
what
end.
we do. Just look at it, the boat name and be like, well, I'm going to call it Worcester.
Add just Andrea Dorias.
Yeah.
Pluralize it for no reason.
Just put the R's at the end that we've
Yeah.
dropped everywhere else.
Yes, exactly.
But I think that's the part where we stop talking.
And thanks for checking out the show today, listeners. If you enjoyed the content today, you can go over to patreon.com/Inebri-art to support the show. You can join over there for just a few dollars a month and help us provide this fun content that you just checked out. You can also email us at Inebri-art.com with your questions, complaints, and concerns, or you can find us on all social medias at Inebri-art or at Inebri-art6 on Instagram. And also don't forget to check out our other shows, Bar Talk Podcast, Old Colony Cast, Inebri-art, and all the other shows on the Inebri-art Network, which you can find at Inebri-art.com. So thanks again for listening.